morning and welcome. I'm Bruce Walter with Unilock Midwest. I want to welcome you to our UTech Training Center. With me today is 𝐜𝐨𝐸 behind the camera, our Director of Training. Today what we wanted to talk to you about was wood-burning fire pits specifically, all right? The evolution of that and what certain opportunities are for you in the backyard application. If you look at all of the benefits the wood-burning fire pit would have, extend the season, the usable time, you're going to be out there earlier in the spring, later in the fall, right? Homeowners will enjoy that. Also, if you look at that as a focal point, right? That's a great entertainment feature to have, and they're easy to build. So let's get started though with our first fire pit here. This is our Sunset Square fire pit. Comes with a steel insert, and I think that first off is very important to have the steel insert to protect no matter what your wall material is from the high heat. Oftentimes homeowners will get a little aggressive in the amount of wood and the fire that they put into here, all right? When we do an installation, we can't really control that. So I want to say first and foremost, definitely always use the steel insert to protect the integrity of the wall that you're surrounding it with, that veneer. Also, it comes with that cooking grate. You're going to notice that as an extra opportunity, kind of a benefit for the homeowner if that's so how they choose to cook steaks and burgers and dogs and things like that. So a great feature to have as an opportunity for a homeowner in the backyard. So here we've got the steel one. This one came out about 7 or 8 years ago. However, also here we've got the Rivercrest fire pit, circular features. Easy to build. If you look at this random ashlar type pattern on this material here, all right, is really only a difficult installation to scratch build, but here it's only laying 4 pieces out per course. So by me setting these 12 blocks on a staggered seam, you know, this is a great feature to have as well. Also comes with the copings on the inside here. You know, Augie's kind of zeroing in on a little bit. But what I wanted to talk most about today was the use of U-Cara on a fire pit application, okay? If you think about all of the things that you can do in your backyard installations, all right? Retaining walls, raised patio applications, you've got the opportunity to veneer all of this material here with a pitched, all right, a little more textured earth tone color. If I want to go more into earth tones, if I want to get into a contemporary feel, a smooth gray kind of off-white blend, I can certainly accent that as well. So there's a lot of diverse options that you can face basically your fire pit to, depending on what homeowner needs and demands might be. So let's get started on the build. I want to start with this 38-inch square feature. Now these are all available at your Unilock authorized dealers, right? And they would have that feature available either with the material or standalone. Now I start with this feature right here, the 38-inch square, because what I'm looking for is I need to identify in construction my layout area, right? So I always want to have the fixture, and it doesn't matter if you're building a grill, building an outdoor fireplace, you always want to have that solid. Again, I call this a fixture based on I want that and I'm going to build around it. So let's get started here. We've simply got on the U-Cara standard backer laid out on both sides. What I want to establish first off now is my layout, okay? If I bring tape measure on that far side, I recognize the fact that I need 57 inches. So we might consider building our layout at 57 inches, but I'd recommend that's not going to serve you very well. And here's what I mean by that. So up here in front, I've laid out panels. All right, so we have 2 closed-end panels with a standard panel. And what I'm looking at is efficiency and aesthetics here. Those 2 factors take me away from my 57-inch. And if I look at this 60-inch, 60.5-inch, all right, length, that's what I want to build. I don't want small cuts, all right? Takes away from the aesthetics, and again, I lose labor by the time it takes to measure things, saw cut that, and reinstall. So if I can use with U-Cara the fascia panels at the accurate length, that'll serve our installers just that much better. So let's get started back here on our base plate, knowing that I need 60.5 inches. Now, laid out these base plates here, made one single cut to establish the length here, all right? Now, what's important with the base plate is not to overhang into the field of the paver installation, all right? Typically, with base plates in U-Cara, I like to center my block in, all right, and have extra material here available to help support my wall construction. But with step construction and with fire pits, recognize the fact that I need to have a paver installation. We're only building 2 courses of this material, all right? So I need to have my first course not interfere with my paver installation. If I began my wall construction here, that would interfere with the hardscape that would surround that fire pit that you're building. So it's important to kind of accurately here dimension out your base plates. So here I've already got that. We're 2.5 inches in. I pencil mark because the backer is going to be the first item that's going to get laid out and installed. Then we're going to veneer the panels. So give me a minute just to do my backer installation. We'll get back to you here in a second. All right, welcome back to our wood burning U-Cara fire pit. The construction, it's only going to be 2 courses, and we've laid out the first course here in front of you and partially through the second. What we wanted to do at this point, take a little bit of a break and point out some of the characteristics. Now, whenever I'm using U-Cara with the standard backer, I like to position that in the corners, and then I'll take my material and fill that in without having to cut potentially, all right? And that's what it is nice about here with this dimension and the U-Cara wood burning fire pit. One thing you'll notice here is I've got 7 blocks underneath from corner to corner on that course, and then 6 here. It's positioned out, my second course, where I have good bond contact. In other words, adhesion from these 2 backers to support this backer here in the midpoint of this cross joint. So I like the strength that I'll have when we adhere all of this together. But important to notice, there's no cutting, not on the fascia panels here, not on the backers as well. There's a little detail that I want to show you on the corner in conjunction with the fascia panels themselves. So here, I'll move our glue gun out of the way. It's important that this is positioned, and what determines the position in this corner, this direction or that direction? Well, to me, it's all about the support for the half panel here. Every closed end corner is perpendicular to its counterpart on the half panel. That establishes our bond, all right? So we position this backer to support that half panel, and now on this side I realize that we don't have that SureTrack rail to support the panel, but I've got at least half of that length of this fascia panel supported here by these 2 backers. So I'll lay that up, apply a little bit of a glue adhesive to this side, smooth edge, lay up our half panel, slide that into position. So again, here's our length, no cuts. Now I'll take my second backer here as a starting point at that corner, position perpendicular, that second course, into that corner. And again, the opposite is going to happen on course 2. I'll have the half panel supported on this outside edge. My closed end panel will come over this smooth edge here. Let's finish the build. All right, welcome back. We've got our first course pretty much laid out. I stopped in certain areas, and just because Augie was getting a little tired and assisting, but anyways, if the camera's a little shaky, I apologize. I think you deserve an explanation. All right, back to this. The reason this only took a few minutes for us to do basically is because we eliminated cuts. And that again is something that with U-Cara is, I think, one of its real key features, all right? So, you're gonna notice some gaps here on these standard backers, all right? So we have a set dimension for our steel insert, right? And against the U-Cara panels here. A couple of things that are worth making mention to. Yes, we used adhesive from the base plate to the first course of material. I also like to at least glue my corners up, all right, which means the closed end along with that half panel. All right, so I'll use adhesive in those areas. Here more in the field area, kind of not so much, a little bit more of an option if you so choose to use it, all right. Also, here in the corner detail, and we brought this up a little bit when we did 90-degree corners with seawalls and things like that. Recognize the fact that we're not using a large backer here, oftentimes used with corner construction on U-Cara, which involve clips. So to eliminate the plastic clips under a high heat area, this is going to be best practice for you guys. All right. Again, the standard backer is positioned all the way into that corner, right? It will support on the SureTrack rail, which is these concrete rails here, the half panel. Now, I've got the closed end panel that will support itself over here because I've got bearing points on these. So here, I'll lay that last one up, slide it into position, all right? And that gives me good corner construction. So I gap these accordingly to be able to receive the half panel on the concrete SureTrack rail side, and then the smooth side of the backer is, again, the area where you want your here left-hand corner, okay? So again, 0 cuts, all right? Nice and clean. Second course going over the top. I wanna back up a little bit here and show you here. That was 7 blocks. This is now 6 blocks, all right? But the same concept. Again, I'm using my SureTrack rail to support the half, and then the smooth side, all right, is where I have my closed end. Over here, the same position, closed end supported on the smooth side, the half panel supported that. So here, now this is the area where I want to discuss that you have that opportunity, but don't go any more than this 1.25 inches that we have here. So again, with high heat and things like that, there's not a detrimental side to this. But again, we don't want to see you actually gap these standard backers any more than about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. The intent again is 0 cuts. Now lastly, we'll lay this piece up before we get started to complete this and drop our steel insert back in. Oftentimes what I'll do is on the inside to support that steel ring, or perhaps even on outdoor kitchens with grills and granite and things like that. If I need to extend some bearing point in a little bit, which we'll need to do with our steel insert, oftentimes I'll take extra material and lay that on the inside here to support the weight of that steel insert from our fire pit. Okay, let me finish it off, drop our steel ring in. We'll talk a little bit about copings. We're to the point right now where we're gonna finish up our U-Cara wood burning fire pit with copings. But before we do that, I wanted to come over to this Rivercrest fire pit and take a look at something that I think is important. So here with the steel insert, it's an 1/8 inch thick, right? We don't want that steel ring to interfere with the installation of our coping unit. We want it to be flush. So if the steel ring is on top of the material here, a lot of times that's going to present a challenge for the coping installation. So this on Rivercrest, and I'll highlight that with my pencil, this area here is molded in to receive that channel. So if we go to our U-Cara fire pit and take a look, how do we do that? Well, there's a couple of things that I like about U-Cara that I think are pretty nice, and this will happen quite a bit. Oftentimes outdoor kitchens or anytime where I need interior bearing, I'll use a fascia panel on the inside. So what it's doing basically here is supporting all 4 sides of our insert itself, the steel insert. Now by simply taking this U-Cara fascia panel and slicing off an 1/8 inch off of the top, this metal now will seat itself at a lower position. So I still have bearing on that fascia panel on the inside, but yet my elevation now is perfect to be able to receive the coping. Show you that with my speed square. So real easy, basically 4 cuts here just to be able to do that. Instead of having to shim copings or anything like that, this is a great technique to help you out, save some time. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the coping itself. All different copings available to you guys, so many different copings. U-Cara has the coping itself, as well as you've got full nose, untumbled full nose, you've got quite a product line to choose from when it comes to coping installations. I do like using ledgestone, but there's a couple of things on ledgestone I think are worth taking a note at. So, on our paver installation, a lot of us will miter a corner like this. We potentially will have a half and soldier course material coming to it. So, by the time we plate that though, recognize the fact that this is a great, nice little signature, if you will. One way to do it, right? But, I noticed a lot of guys will do that on their pavers and then replicate on the ledgestone. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's some challenges specifically when it comes to ledgestone. So we have a little bit more, once we take a larger piece, we have a little bit of an area out here in the overhang. It's a little bit more delicate, if you will. All right, so how do I avoid that? Again, yes, I could definitely do 2 miters and have a nice attractive feature, but sometimes I'm concerned a little bit here, so if you have issues or had issues with that material, this perhaps might be an option you want to take a look at. So we're using 4 pieces, 1 closed-end ledgestone corner, and basically by closed-end ledgestone, that's 3-sided ledgestone, and then I'm shaving off the rock face basically here to receive that perpendicular piece. The other thing, I'll do a quick miter on that inside just to eliminate the rock face from hitting one side to the next. So this is definitely a technique that I've used in the past when it comes to any 90-degree corner here on ledgestone. So basically, that's our simple U-Cara fire pit. Easy to build. We've got 44 standard backers, no cuts. We've got 8 fascia corner sets, which is the closed end and the half panel. We've got 12 standard fascia panels as well. No cuts involved in that. The only cuts that we did have were 4 of these to support the insert itself, and then 4 cuts on our base units. Real easy to do. Again, if you work with the measurements of U-Cara, I think you'll find that you can do improved quality of installation, avoiding sliver cuts, etc., and then time and efficiency reduction. So, anyways, thanks for your time today. Enjoy.